Here is a pair of Windmere 12-inch oscillating pedestal fans. I picked up both of these at the local Goodwill over the course of 2 visits. The first time, one of them was there and it cost $12. The second time, which was I think within a week, another one was there, and this time it cost $15. Figure that one out. I guess it must have come with some extra dust. Actually, yeah, it did. The one that's dustier, this is the $12 one, which is pretty clean. And this is the $15 one, which did in fact come with some extra dust. This is not the first time I've had that experience at this particular store. This also happened with those 16-inch SMC oscillating pedestal fans. I was there was one of them, I went back again, and then there was 2 more. Or was there 2 more, or was there just one? I don't remember now. I think there might have been 2 more. Anyways, whatever the number was, same occurrence. I tend to think that this is one of those situations where the same person bought both of these fans the same day at the same store. Yet there's another instance here of the fans seemingly identical not being identical. We have 2 different color bases. We have one base with a dark gray cover there, and end caps, most of them are missing, which is typical. Actually, only one's missing. And then on the other fan we have a white cap with mostly missing white ends. It's kind of bizarre. You know, more and more often we're starting to see cases like this where the same fan has different parts, and a lot of people have been up in arms over Lasco over the last couple of years using different parts in the 3733, but I think that that kind of nonsense has been going on for much longer than we realize. Let's take a look at the model number here. The model number is just about invisible. I'm going to have to take it over here and look at it directly under the light to see this. It is the model number KS-12H, made in China, 120 volt, 60 hertz, 0.55 the amps, and it's labeled as Paragon Industries C-163C/012. So I was correct a while ago when I thought that Paragon was one of the OEMs for Windmere. There was another one as well. I don't recall off the top of my dome which one it was. I'm sure somebody can tell me in the comments box. So this is very similar. Both of these are very similar to the childhood model that I'm looking for, which is the KD12, I want to say. I don't really remember, but it looks just like this, except the blade is a darker gray in color. It's a desktop or tabletop fan. The controls are the same. It's got the knob on the back. The motor looks the same, or the motor housing looks the same anyways. It's got the big logo on the front. I have a video of the exact instance that my aunt and uncle used to have. If I remember, chances are slim, but if I remember, I'll post a link to that video in the video box. So I don't know how the adjustment apparatus works on these. Looks like there's 2 set screws and then maybe the knob that turns to adjust the height of the post. But why do we need two set screws here? Let's see what this one does. I feel like I'm going to regret taking this out. Okay, so that takes the fan off of there. I wonder if you could stick this into the tabletop base. I'm going to have to go back and look at that video and see if there's a set screw on that fan. I feel like you could. That would be just about the right height. That would be really interesting if that's the case. I wonder if it was sold as a convertible model. And this lifts it up off the stand. And why this part doesn't just go directly on that, I have no idea. Actually, that gets pretty tall. I wasn't expecting it to go up that much. Actually, it's probably about average height. It just looks particularly tall because it's such a small fan head in relation to the stand. You know, we're used to seeing pedestal fans as 16-inch models, and these are only 12. I don't know where these things were used, but certain parts are just yellowed beyond all recognition. Good grief. I'm going to put that back down because it barely fits in the video frame here. Alright, so we'll run them both. I'll do one separately, or I'll do them both separately and then we'll do them together. We are testing with 117.5 the volts. These are rated for 0.55 amps, which is actually pretty high for a 12-inch of this era. I don't expect it to consume that much. I would expect more around 0.3. Oh dear. I don't want to run it like that. Let's fix that. The guard is loose. There's a little bit of warpage here. Not to the point where I think it's going to seriously impact the airflow, but these blades are starting to warp just a little bit, which really stinks. Fortunately, these are pretty generic looking. I actually might have some new replacements for these. I've noticed in more recent times a bunch of replacement blades have kind of flooded Amazon. Whereas I remember when I first started to look for replacement fan blades somewhere in the range of 5, 6, 7 years ago, there were not many available. I know there's some that look like this, so we could just replace these if we have to. But this needs to be tightened. That is very loose. Actually, something else is wrong too. That screw is so loose it just fell out. Okay. That should get us through the video. This is not, okay, there we go. It's not sitting on here properly. Now it is. blade feels very brittle. Very sun damaged. These definitely were in a very bright room. Or they could also have spent a lot of time in a damp basement. I'm finding that things stored in damp areas are yellowing as much, if not more, than things that were exposed to high amounts of sun. I think both are equally as damaging. Alright, here we go. Now that the fans are not going to fall apart, let's try again. Well, it used to work because I tested it when I first got it home. What in the heck? It doesn't seem like it's stiff. It just seems like it's lacking all power. There's also something, it sounds like something's scraping somewhere. But it's not spinning like something's scraping. I don't know, that's weird. We're going to have to revisit that one. I don't want to run it like that because something just happened when I was tightening it, so we're just going to leave that one alone. It works. It worked. I checked it on all 3 speeds when I first got it home, and it worked fine. Actually, it worked very well. I don't know what happened. Hopefully this one is still working properly. It is. In typical Windmere fashion, it's quite powerful. It goes very fast. Yeah, I don't think it's quite as good as the translucent blade era fans because those were much quieter. But it does perform pretty well. The other one was much more powerful because it doesn't have all this dust on there. The blade is out of balance. I'm not sure if it's always been like that or it's like that now because of the warpage problem. Power information is 0.28 the amps, which is a lot of power. Maybe it will draw 0.55. 31 the watts and 0.95 the power factor. The medium. Has 0.3 the amps, 36 the watts, and 1 the power factor. It's throwing some good air. It's not bad at all. That's one of the reasons why I always used to like Windmere fans, because they always seem to be pretty powerful and high. I think the blade is not working 100% the way it should be, because that can contribute to the lack in range and speeds, because the motor doesn't have enough load on it. I know I have some of those replacement blades. I bought them. They look just like this. They might still be at the old location. I gotta get over there and grab those, among other things. Yeah, that's pretty strong. It's going really fast too. So that is 0.36 the amps, 42 the watts, and 1, nope, now we're down to 0.99 power factor. So very good power factor on this. By some miracle, the oscillator still works. It seems to work pretty reasonably well too. for a Windmere anyways. I don't know what it was, a Windmere, but Windmere could not make a oscillator mechanism at all. I guess there is a decent range in the speeds. The bearings are definitely starting to dry out, but that's perfectly reasonable for something that has probably never been oiled in at least 20 years. These are probably around, I'd say 25 years old by now. Is there a UL tag on this thing somewhere? No, I don't see one. There's no dates on the outside here that I can see anywhere. No. But I'm sure these are either early 2000s or mid to late 90s. Let's see what kind of tilt these have. There's no bolt to loosen. Decent tilt range. Alright, so there we go. 2 Windmere 12-inch pedestal fans. Both were working. Now one I guess I broke when I screwed the screws in. So we'll have to check that out. I bet there's got something to do with the stupid oscillating mechanism, because once you change the positioning of the housing, or I don't know. Usually if there's a problem with a Windmere, it's a stupid oscillator issue, but we'll get that fixed, not a problem. This other one's working pretty good. Just needs a good cleaning and lubrication.